Hey guys, Asher coming at you today from Raid Shadow Legends with another champion guy, this time on Iron Brago. Iron Brago is almost 3 years old in this game. Does that make any of you guys feel like vets out there? Poor Ashley. Ashley Chalista, day one asking for an Iron Brago build for 2023. Uh-oh. Well, for those of you watching in the future, this is now 4 or 5 months into 2024. So I apologize, Ashley. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 8, and so on and so forth. Ashley, you have waited a long time. Today is your day. It's all about you and Iron Brago. No one else exists. So we also have a few other shout outs. Dev, we got Mario, we got Ricardo, we got Mario again, we got Bay Banana, Robert Miller, we got Marku, we have Shravan, we have Kaylee. A lot of requests for Iron Brago. Let's go ahead and take a look at this dude. So guys, Iron Brago is a legendary Spirit Affinity Orc champion. He looks pretty cool. He's dual wielding the big mallets or whatever you want to call these things. He's got a pretty cool aesthetic about him, I would say, right? Not my favorite, but not my least. What is up with that smile or lack thereof, that frown? His teeth really do wrap around the entire head there, huh? Interesting helmet, interesting motif overall. He's a defensive-based champion. His base defense is 1487, pretty dang good. The rest of his stats are just average, 18k on the HP and 99 on the speed. Obviously, attack, it doesn't matter. Molten Pummeling is A1, attacks one enemy. We have a 30% chance of decreasing the duration of all buffs by 1 turn. Not a bad ability because it pertains, the chance is low, 20 or 30 booked, but it does affect obviously every single buff on the target, which can be very valuable even at a 30% land rate. On the A2, Fearless Charge, 3-turn cooldown when booked. Plays the big version of increased defense on all allies for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. That's amazing. We can keep that up on all allies basically all the time. The only other champion that comes to mind that has that ability on a 2-turn is actually Black Knight, right? Black Knight has a 2-turn increased defense on a 2-turn cooldown. Iron Brago now has that from a Spirit Affinity champion for 3 turns. Has a 100% chance of placing a stun when booked for 1 turn on 1 enemy. Places a stun for 2 turns instead if the target is under 2 or more buffs. So make sure you're careful who you target, especially in the arena or in wave content. Target their cleanser, right? Who are under ideally 2 or more buffs if given the option. That way you can neutralize them for 2 turns. It is very difficult for either PvP or PvE to come back and recover from a 2-turn stun. On the A3, Battle Storm, an AoE attack on a 3-turn cooldown, have a 75% chance of placing a provoke for 1 turn. Also places a decrease attack debuff on all enemies for 2 turns as long as Iron Brago is under an increased defense buff, which he basically always is going to be unless it's removed, right? So a pretty dependable decrease attack, a provoke, and a stun. So a lot of control in his kit mixed with a lot of support in his kit. I like it. I like it. The only downside is the provoke is a 75% chance. For that reason, he can be a decent provoker for Hydra Clan Boss, for Magma Dragon, but he's not incredibly dependable compared to a lot of other, even epic champions out there that have 100% provoke. I personally don't love the RNG, so I look at this Battlestorm ability as not the ideal ability for Hydra Clan Boss, nor the ideal ability for Magma Dragon, but, I mean, especially for Magma, I mean, you can just take a few tries. You're not expending anything by going through those battles if you do get poor RNG. So maybe not my favorite as a main provoker for Hydra, but a good secondary provoker in my opinion. Bestow strength of his passive, increase the defense of all allies by 10% of this champion's defense. That's incredible. If you can get him to 5,000 defense, obviously you're getting 500 extra defense on all of your allies. That's incredibly significant. You know, it's more than an accessory that he's going to give them all from his passive. That's really strong, and obviously it parlays very nicely to the increased defense at the same time. It's going to boost both, right? And then the aura is defense in Doom Tower battles by 34%. A pretty dang good aura lead for Doom Tower content. All right, let me show you how I have him built in today's video. The cool thing about Iron Brago is you can actually deal a little bit of damage. Hey, I noticed a little soul stone. I forgot that I had a soul stone. Let's pull the immortal soul stone. A little Little intermission for you guys. Oh, man. Oh, God. All right, let's make it up with a mortal, a really good mortal pull. Come on, come on. Oh, man. All right, that was very lackluster, not worth the interruption at all. All right, back to the video. Let me go ahead and pull up Iron Brago. So Iron Brago, as I was starting to say, the cool thing about him is he already has a really, robust and versatile kit with the increased defense passive, even the A1 like we spoke about. And then he adds, on top of everything else, all the control, the whole nine, he adds a lot of damage for a defense-based champion. Before we dive into the build, his multipliers, right? This is hellhades.com, a 3.6 multiplier on the A1. We have and again, that's a single hitter on the A1. We have a 5.1 multiplier on that single target A2. And then we have a 3.7 AoE multiplier on the A3. Pretty dang good. He's hitting, I'm trying to give you some comps here. He's hitting roughly the same on his AoE as a Valkyrie. She has a 3 multiplier, but she has a much higher base defense. You could compare him maybe to a Hoskarul AoE or a Grush the Mangler, maybe even a little bit harder than those two epics. So that's kind of the pantheon where he sits in terms of his DPS. They give him, in terms of area rankings here, they give him a 4 out of 5 in the arena as a controlled DPS, increased defense. He does fit sneakily well on a defense-based arena nuking team. We'll highlight that in today's video. They give him a 5 out of 5 in Ice Golem. Again, survivability, the bestow strength passive. It's great. He's pretty dang good for Ice Golem. I think he's underrated. He can even control both of the minions of the Ice Golem. Doom Tower Wave, a 5 out of 5. Clan Boss. I haven't spoken about Clan Boss. He used to be the GOAT in Clan Boss. If you run an unkillable team, which most players who've been playing over 6 months usually do, then he's not going to help you out much, right? But if you don't, he's going to be a lockdown increased defense champion. The A1 can be nice. Obviously, the damage can be nice, right? So he can be a great option for Clan Boss. I totally agree with the 4.5 rating. Magma Dragon, he gets a 3.5. Eternal Dragon, a 4. I agree with these rankings. Overall, they rate him a 4. I think that's pretty fair. I think that's pretty dang fair. We have him in a triple 2-piece set build today. Defiant, Speed, and Perception. I picked all of these for a reason. Perception to basically, illustrate to you guys that we do need to prioritize accuracy for obvious reasons on this champion. Every single one of his abilities requires accuracy. Speed, we want him. He doesn't need to be the fastest on your team, but the faster the better. That way you can get back around to that A2 and keep that increased defense up longer. And then Defiant, he's taking a lot of damage. He's got the provoke anyway, right? So we want his defense to be higher. And keep in mind, that defense is going to bleed over. 10% of that 10% is going to go to your allies anyway from the passive. I also like Defiant because it mitigates AoE damage as well. So those are the 3 sets that we went with here. Other sets to consider on Iron Brago. Again, Perception is great. We want, Immortal is fantastic. We want a survivability on this dude, obviously, right? So those are the directions that I would go. If you want to build him to be the ultimate tank, you can go with maybe a defense set and a guardian set or something like that. There's a lot of different ways you can build him. Depends on how much of a trade-off you want for damage and survivability. Today, we have somewhat of a damage debuffer build, but there's still a decent amount of defense. We have defense on the ring. We have crit damage on the amulet. We have accuracy on the banner. So we're not getting a ton of survivability out of the accessories, mainly more damage and more accuracy so we can land all those valuable debuffs. We have speed on the boots. We have a defense percentage on the chest, and we have crit damage on the gauntlets. It's fine to go crit rate on the gauntlets too. For me, in Iron Brago, I would prioritize accuracy and speed and defense. Okay, those are the top 3 stats. And then after that, if you can get them in crit damage, especially if you're more towards the end game, go ahead and do so. If you can't, no stress. You could go defense percentage on the gauntlets and just build them to be super, super tanky and beef everybody else up and help with the debuffs and the control, or you could just put crit rate on there as well. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the Blessing. I love this dude in Faultless Defense. Whenever an enemy attacks an ally under an increased defense, placed by this champion reflects a portion of that damage back onto the attacker. That was made for Iron Brago. Now, the good news is Faultless Defense is amazing now, since they buffed it or reworked it or changed it, whatever you want to say. I think all three apply, but I only have 1 star awakened, so I'm not benefiting a ton. I only get 3% of reflected damage. I do get a little bit of HP, which is nice. 7,500, more than a little bit, I would say, right? But if you can get them all the way to 6, you get 15% reflected damage plus the speed and all the rest of the stats. Other considerations for Iron Brago are obviously going to be Brimstone, to have him place your smites on your team. He can be incredibly competent there as well. That would be a great damage blessing for him, especially in PvE content. Other than that, you know, I would say Lightning Cage would be the last consideration. So Lightning Cage, Faultless Defense, or Brimstone would be my top 3 choices. We have them today in Faultless Defense. Masteries on Iron Brago. I have kind of an old build here. I'll push myself over. We went down the defense tree. We picked up more defense, go figure. And we gave him the chance to counterattack with Retribution and Deterrence. Again, I love the idea of decreasing the buffs on that A1. So I like the counterattack. Plus his multipliers were pretty solid on the A1 anyway. I came down the left-hand side. I picked up War Master. Notably, I also picked up Life Drinker so he can heal himself a little bit if he needs it along the way. I also picked up Rejuvenation to up his heals and shields in general. And lastly, I didn't pick it up here, but you could consider Shadow Heal as well, just to make sure he's always healing himself, especially if you don't have Immortal or Regen or something on him. You can, however, also go for the support tree. You know, we could use extra HP, that's great, but I prefer going accuracy, pinpoint, charge focus, swarm smiter. Coming down in this particular build, I would absolutely pick up Lore of Steel. You could pick up Sniper Mastery. Sniper will help you on the A1, but not the Provoke on the A3. I would much rather Master Hexer if I had to choose between the two, or you could even consider Lasting Gifts if you wanted to. I would come down from Swarm Smiter, come to Cycle of Magic, and then end with Lasting Gifts to extend the duration of the increased defense even longer. You might be asking, why would I need a 4-turn increased defense if he already has it for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown? It might help you. For example, with my Iron Brago, what if I was running him on a team? His speed right now is 229. It's fast, but it's not that fast. What if I was running him on a team with a bunch of champions at 300 speed? In that case, Lasting Gifts would help extend that duration until Iron Brago got around to his A2 again. So some things for your consideration there. His total stats in today's video are going to be 53k on the HP. We don't want to totally neglect HP, but the blessing certainly helped. The defense, you know, end game, I'm trying to aim for around 5,000 defense, a little bit short of that today. 105, 204 on the damage, crit rate, crit damage, and then accuracy at 371. So we could absolutely forego some of that accuracy, take the banner off, go defense instead if we wanted to, but I want to make sure that we're landing all those valuable debuffs, so I would err on the side of accuracy. Let's go ahead and try them out in Cursed City, guys. I actually just used them on P6 here in Cursed City Hard. Check out this squad. Kind of a weird team here. We have a Helicath, we have Duck the Pierced, we have Fellhound, Marquess, 2 rares, 2 legendaries, and an epic, and Iron Brago. So let's see how they do. Let's go ahead and start this battle out. I really need to put together an old school clan boss team for you guys to highlight in some of these videos, but I don't cover a lot of clan boss because mainly for me it's been 2 or 3 years of unkillable, maybe longer than that, you know. Anyway, let's go in with the, you know, so we have the great option at the start of the battle. Let me make myself a little bit smaller here. There we go. So we have the great option with Iron Brago. Both his A2 and his A3 are incredible. You know, so we can go in here and we can provoke, or we can just increase defense, everybody. The first thing that I look at is who else is on the team when making this decision, right? I have a defense-based nuker in Marquess, the rare champion. I have an attack-based nuker in Fellhound. I have a defense-based nuker in Duck the Pierced and in Helicath. So in this case, I'm actually going to go with the A2, and I get to decide who I want to stun on the enemy team. Now, nobody's under 2 or more buffs, but who's the biggest threat on the enemy team right now? I would argue 100% it's Molly Tankard, because she's a reviver, and she has a 2-turn provoke, so let's pop her off. She's dead. Don't need a 2-turn stun when you can one-shot them. But more importantly, now all of our defense-based nukers have increased defense to get more damage out of them. So we can go in with Winds of the Pit and basically take everybody out. Now, we're on the second wave. Let's go ahead and provoke a couple of these targets. It's at random. And then let's hopefully provoke the rest. Gammaran kind of escaped, but we can target Gammaran first. Kill him, right? Now, everybody's provoked thanks to the A3 and the A3 of Duck and of Brago. Let's go ahead and Marquez, what do you got? Not bad. Fellhound, pop him off right there. Good job, Fellhound. Even Fellhound helping out. It's funny for me to see Fellhound in a non-arena or non-campaign situation on my account. It's like, hey man, getting some usage out of campaign. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and go block damage. It looks like the enemies might get a turn here. We can freeze somebody potentially. Hey, it's Iron Brago over there. Let's freeze the other Iron Brago. Let's do that. Or kill him. How about that? That's even better. Let's go Fellhound. Fellhound, I did say he's attack, but he is defense and attack. My bad on that. So he's still going to benefit from the increased defense. But in this situation, I mean, this team has things absolutely on lockdown. It's really quite a bloodbath here on this squad. So Iron Brago did a pretty good job. I mean, damage-wise, he kind of led the pack with Helicath as well. But you can see, hopefully you took away from that one battle, you know, as small or short as it was. Hopefully you were able to take away, man, this dude has a lot of versatility in his kit. The damage, the increased defense, the provokes, everything. He's bringing a lot to the table. Let me highlight a little bit of arena with him. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. You don't see him used in endgame arena in the current meta. But that doesn't mean you can't use him. This is the type of team I would be looking at. I would want to have an Armand's the Magnificent or a Lockout champion or a Sun Wukong, some control champion. And then I would want to pair him with another control if I could. So in this case, I'm using Tormin, but I'm also double dipping. Tormin, Iron Brago, and Solus. They can all nuke, but they can all control. So I've got provokes, I've got buff removal, I've got buff removal, I've got buff removal again on Tormin, I've got freeze on Tormin. There's so much control, and the beautiful thing is all 3 of these champions are going to benefit and deal more damage because of the increased defense. So I really like this squad. It's a go second team. If I really want to optimize it for the arena, I'd probably have Stone Skin on basically all 3 of these champions, or at least 2. See, in this situation, I mean, there's not much we can do here with Iron Brago. We're still going to lead off with the A2. We're not going to be able to stun anybody, but we're still going to lead off because we still want that increased defense on our team. Helps us stay alive, make sure the arrow doesn't take us down. Let's go ahead and try to remove buffs from everybody with Sun Wukong. 2 wins and 2 fails there. I should mention, I do not have Sun Wukong built in my best gear or anything like that. Let's go. Let's try to remove the bust from Siffy, and we do. Even if we were going to kill anybody, it wasn't. They're just going to get revived. 2 revivers on the team, right? 2 very good revivers in Siffy. And the thing about that's annoying about Elva and Siffy is they both have the healing passives too. So even if we do a little bit of damage, they're going to be healing up a lot throughout the duration of the battle. There goes Sun Wukong doing a little bit of damage to UDK. He does get revived right away, but frozen by Tormin. We come in there with a nice soulless hit as well. The increased defense is still up, which is beautiful. Tormin's doing a heck of a good job neutralizing their DPS in the meantime, while he buys the rest of the team time to basically chip away here. The cool thing about this team is they have a super tanky, double reviver, double heal, UDK, you name it. They've got everything going on here. But the beauty of my team, maybe I'm a little biased, is that we have damage everywhere. Every time we take a turn with this team, were doing significant damage or controlling or something, right? So they really don't have a lot of respite. And this is why, or this is how you can make a pretty dang cool team, I think, around Iron Brago. And again, we're already back to the increased defense. We can already refresh it, so we get a lot of damage out of even the A1s of these champions. Go in there and finish things off with Sun Wukong. So hopefully this will inspire a few of you guys to maybe give him a shot inside the arena. I want to put one battle on auto before we end the video off here, just to see what he's going to auto into in terms of his abilities. He's going to go right for that A2, and immediately we get the one-turn stun. Oh man, that was a fast one there. Pretty dang cool team, if I do say so myself, guys. Hopefully this sufficed for your Iron Brago guide, guys. I'll put the Hell Hades link if you want to see other recommendations in terms of mastery loadouts, etc. for Clan Boss in the show notes below. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.